So today we're going to talk about how to improve your budget, credit, and finances in 10 easy steps. You know, you're kind of a big deal. You know, chartered senior financial planner, financial broker with licenses in insurance, mortgage, investments, and real estate, credit improvement, debt elimination, author, speaker, and trainer. I can tell you like to have fun and you love to help people and that you really have a genuine desire to see our people win the money game.
No doubt, no doubt.
Help me welcome Mr. Fahim Muhammad, the Freedom Coach Cash Flow Builder.
All right. I want to look and say, where that guy at? Where that guy at?
How you doing today?
Oh, fine.
All right. So, we are here to talk about this new book you're getting ready to drop.
Oh yes. Okay. It's a big deal.
Okay.
Of course, the book is titled "You Cannot Work Your Way to Freedom. You Gotta Buy Your Time Back. Free yourself and your dreams will follow. Because freedom is not for sale."
Really? Now this isn't your first book?
No. I have several books. One of my main books that I'm known for is Making It Happen from Zero to Hero: How to Build Wealth with Money and Real Estate Investments. And so with this particular book, that's like was really for the mainstream. This is like the next level up.
Okay.
And so this is pretty much going from, maybe from middle school to high school and up. So that's what we're doing on this one.
Okay, so well, tell us about what inspired you to write this book.
All right. Really, what really inspired me, just to give you just a little small history about myself. As I tell people, I'm the average, ordinary guy that's striving to do some extraordinary things. That I'm pretty much like everyone. I had a dream to really want to be somebody. Raised from the south side of Chicago. Of course, raised in the Robert Taylor homes and going to school to John Ferry. I wasn't always a good guy, okay? So I was doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing, of course, in the street. Most of them probably illegal, right? And my mother sent me to live with my father because I was separated from my father and my siblings. And because obviously I called myself, want to gangbang and do all them things when you was young, and she sent me to my father. And pretty much I got exposed to something different. And so I was a little, quote, above average athlete. And so I was able to box, run, play football, various sports. And so I ended up going to college because that was like, I was the first one in the family to do that. You know the saying, go to school, get a degree, get a job, and everything gonna be okay. And actually, everything wasn't okay. And so definitely made my family proud by being the first one in the family to do it. But when I was working for the government, I realized that something was wrong. And what I mean by that, I noticed everyone that worked at the government for at least 5 years or more, they never left. And so I said, okay, that just cannot be me. I told one of the guys that went to college with me that was working for the state as well, I said, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna be here 5 years, right? And so as I bring this story close to home, we had a class for the whole state, a couple hundred people, give a few, take a few. And they had a union meeting. Have you heard of union meetings?
Yeah.
Going out of job? Okay. So they had a union meeting, and one of the union stewards said, well, they haven't balanced the budget. And at this time, I'm in my 20s, right? They hadn't balanced the budget, and they're gonna lay people off. And they try to talk over that. Now, unlike other people, I'm a little bit more direct. I was like, rewind it, right? I was like, I put my hand up. I said, what do you mean that you're talking about balance the budget layoff? They say, well, if the budget doesn't get balanced, they're not going to be able to make payroll until they get it straight. I said, hold on. So you tell me I left a private agency that was a small job to come to the state I thought was a bigger job, and I almost ended up with no job. And so pretty much my story, to answer your question, what happened is, as being at that time, someone who's newly married, got a son coming into the world, you do not want to go home and tell your significant other or your wife that you have no income and no job. And so they was going down to the Capitol to picket, okay? Like East State got a Capitol. They was going down to the Capitol to picket. And no way I was doing that. As they say, a mama didn't raise no fool, right? And so I was working 80 hours a week. I was working 40 hours with the state, another 40 hours with mentally delayed people. And what happened is maybe a week or so, I happened to see a young man that I went to school with. Let's say small world.
Small world.
Small world.
Okay.
So what happened is he was like the second person I met in college. He had a dorm in the dorm in college, and his father went to school with my father in Hughes, Arkansas. So what's the chances 34 years later that we're going to meet up? So I said small world. Well, anyway, though, he worked for a private agency. I seen him at the courthouse where we was doing our particular business for the institution we worked for. And he asked me what I was doing. Would I be interested in making some additional income, making some money? And I told him, I really don't have time because I'm working 80 hours, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8 hours, right? And 80 hours a week. So he said that it's a meeting that was on a Saturday. And pretty much I told him that was the only time that I had. And I went to that meeting and I got lit afire. And I tell people the power of mentorship, exposure, and being open. And that's what led me into this money game.
Wow. Okay, so let's go back to the book for a second. What are some key principles and strategies outlined in the book that help people on their quest for financial freedom?
All right. Of course, so one of the things you definitely want to make for sure that you can work your way to financial freedom.
Okay.
Buy your time back. Of course, free yourself so your dreams are followed. Freedom is not for sale. And so I just love the name of the book, right? But it's 5 main things that, and of course we probably get into some of, but it's 5 main topics. Number 1, it's protection. Number 2, it's emergency. Number 3, it's investment. Number 4 is retirement. And the last category is network. And we have never, and I tell people, look at this as a brick or a house. And if you got bricks in place, if you move some of the bricks out of place, what you think happened to your house?
It'll fall down.
Your house will fall. And so what we want to, when we share people in the book, we're breaking down each one of those bricks, and we're breaking them down in 10 easy steps. Nobody has ever done anything like this. It's like a lot of great material out there and people should check out, but no one have gave people a straight, direct blueprint from A to Z to make it happen. So that's what we got going.
Okay. Now, how long did you say you've been in the financial field?
Wow, 3 decades. And for the people who don't know, decade is 10 years. So you're talking about 30 years. Wow. I know I look like I'm 20, right? So, but yeah, about 3 decades.
Well, you're clearly an expert at this.
All right, thank you.
But you know, when I think about those listening and really bringing it home, did you ever face any personal financial challenges in your life?
Oh my God.
And you know, tell us about that and how you went from this expert today, and where did it all come from?
Oh, there's no question. That's one of the reasons why I'm able to really write the books and do the things that I've done. I have experienced all the things that people have been told, starting even from a young age, obviously not having water, sleeping 3, 4, 5 people to the bed in the projects, pretty much dipping bread and Kool-Aid like that was a meal, and we was okay with that, right? That's like that was a meal, right? And just dipping bread and Kool-Aid and making mayonnaise sandwiches and grilled cheese sandwiches, putting sugar, all that stuff. People don't know what that was like. This stuff, putting syrup on cornbread, the Alaga, that old thick syrup, right? So I definitely know, and people probably don't know about this. I'm really telling my age. We had something called school clothes and play clothes, okay? And so I know about those things, but even as an adult, I didn't experience it all. I know how I feel to have a car repossessed. I know how I feel to lose the place you live. I know how I feel to get put out. I know how I feel to put everything and people leave you. I know how I feel to be divorced. I know how I feel to build a business and people turn their back on you. So I have experienced all these things. And one of the things that the main things that I realized in life, in order to do it, I could not have done it if I didn't have a mentor. And so one of the things that I have seen that caused me to be able to bounce back, number 1, is following these 10 steps that's in the book. Having a mentor and following these 10 steps.
Okay. So in your experiences, so far over these past 30 years, I'm sure you've seen a lot of different clients, you've probably witnessed a lot. What would you say are some of the misconceptions that people have when it comes to seeking financial freedom?
If I could say from what I found, one thing I share with people, it's called pretty much life. Okay, I give that framework or that the acronym in there, and one of probably the biggest things that I've seen, the L stands for something, the I stands for something, the F stands for something, and of course the E stands for something. I want to start with the E because you asked the question about these last 3 years and these times we've been going in with things up and down. It's really ego, and that ego in life stands for etching guidance out. That people are so fascinated only with something they may have seen on the internet or seen on social media, and they don't understand how it works, which is why we have these 10 steps to do it. So if I would say one of the main things is ego, etching guidance out. And you got to get a network, you got to get a team, you got to get a coach, because it is too tough, too hard, and you're going to lose too much time. They say a hint to the wise is sufficient. They say a wise man don't only learn from his mistakes, they learn from others as well.
Okay. Now, I think about the term financial freedom.
Okay?
And is that really achievable?
Okay. And I'm glad you asked that, because a lot of times people, we hear these terms, and we hear these terms like secrets or get rich fast and do these things. And so what we talk about in the book and in the classes that we have, that is levels to everything. And I think people sometimes, it's a saying that they have in the hood. Obviously, I still got a little of that in me, right? Where you got, for a better use of words, that you have champagne taste and sparkling cider money, right? And so, and so what we want to share with people is that it's levels. And so the first 3 levels, and it's sometimes there's sub levels into it, but I want to get into the 3 main levels. To answer your question, 1 is what is called financial independence or financial freedom. Number 2 is rich, and number 3 is wealthy, and it's sub levels in there. Now, that first level, as you talk about, that's the reason why we have, I do my classes, our workshops, I have the book, because everyone can achieve that level if they have a plan, they have steps, if they have a coach or mentor. Because what financial freedom or financial independence is pretty much just replacing your income, which is not hard, since they say the average income right now is between 40 to 45,000 in our country. That's really not a lot of money. So you're looking at, if the average family can go ahead and replace about $3,000 to $5,000 a month, they could be financially free. So financially freedom doesn't mean wealthy, doesn't mean rich. It means we're replacing your take-home income. So if you bring home $4,000 a month, it is our goal to put a program in place to show you how you can be able, between the things we talk about in the book, different investments, real estate and other investments that we'll get into, that if you now have that money coming in to pay a cell phone bill, so you're buying your time back. So now you don't have to work to pay your cell phone bill. Now your car note is $500. Now you got some kind of investment or business that's paying you that. Now we done paid that. So now if you get your car, we got your sale, you're almost free, okay? And so now we're looking to go to the next big thing. We're worried about the other money things. And now if you need $1,000, $1,500 to pay your rent or your mortgage, once we replace that, it's game time now. So we done got your car, we done got your cell phone. You know people can't live without the phone, right? So we got to get your cell phone, your car, and we get the 3 most important or the big expenses that we like really look at. I'm telling you, on your way. So that whole thing is just replacing your income. That would get you the financial freedom that you no longer are looking for somebody else to do what you could do for yourself.
Okay. Now I kind of giggled because you said car note was $500.
Yeah. Okay. you say.
I don't know nobody with a car note that cheap.
And we're going to get into talk. I'm glad you brought it up. We got to, as one of our steps when we get to it, is going to talk about that. And that's one of the things that we have not really been educated, and we're buying more with our eyes versus buying with our pocket.
Okay. Now let's see. So it's end of January.
Okay.
Give or take. So it's tax season.
And people got that money already spent.
Already spent. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm getting my tax refund, and I'm so excited. I wait for the same time of year every year for this tax refund. What are your thoughts about the tax refund?
One of the things that we educate people and talk to people about that is inside, of course, our plan and one of our steps. But the main thing people need to be educated that the tax system that's set up, of course, in our country is our primary way that our country have their budget by collecting taxes. And so everyone should pay their fair share taxes, but you are not supposed to overpay, of course, in your particular taxes.
Okay.
And what people don't realize that when you are getting refunds, all you are really doing, of course, is basically getting some of your money or the overpayment that you're paying on your taxes. And so what we share with people, it's about 75,000 plus pages in the tax code. And in them 75,000 pages, it's only talking about two ways that they mainly tax. Majority of them is for the entrepreneur or the employer, not the employee. And that is how our country thrives off of that. So they need, obviously, entrepreneurs, they need employers to employ employees, so therefore the economy can still thrive. We want to show you, though, how to play the money, gain, and win, how to buy your time back so you can realize freedom is not for sale. And so one of the things we're going to share with people, because taxes is something that you, quote, don't see, but you feel. And so we want to show them how you can use all the laws, the benefits in a program, things that people have not heard or know how to use them. And so that's what we talk about in our 10 Easy Steps.
Okay, that's interesting. A friend of mine told me she's going to get $6,000 back and her tax refund. So are you telling me every month, 12 months, she's overpaying $500 a month?
If not more, absolutely. Because let's call it what it is. Without us going through exactly in detail. And again, I'm a chartered senior financial planner and not a CPA, but the chances you getting all your money back that you can pay is not likely. So whatever you're getting back, you better believe you done already overpaid. So yes, if whatever you're getting back is an overpayment because it says it on the W-4. That you fill out your W-4 and give it to your employer, and this is to help estimate your particular taxes. So that's why you're able to give it back, because they don't have a fine tune, because what people don't realize is different things throughout the year that if you adjust it, your W-4, that you are able to reduce your taxes. And so that's one our step that we talk about as well.
Okay, well, I know I could use extra $500.
Oh yeah, well we got it for you. We got it for you.
Okay, so let's go back to the book
Okay.
for a moment. I mean, I know we're staying on the book, but we tangent a little bit. But I'm thinking about the person who reads the book for the first time. They're like, okay, it's 2024 and I don't want to be broke no more. Hear that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it. 2024. Yeah, I might have to write that down.
Yeah. I don't want to be broke no more. I am going to make this year the year I commit to starting my financial freedom journey.
Okay.
What do I do first?
Okay. The very first thing that's in the steps of the system is, number one, you have to sit down with a particular coach, preferable somebody licensed, a financial planner, so you can get assessment. We have something that we call a FAP, a Freedom Financial Assessment Plan, that pretty much that if people are either part of our network or they use any particular product service we have, they can get it for free. The purpose of doing the FAP, the Freedom Financial Assessment Plan, is pretty much what it happens when you go to a doctor or when you take your car to the shop, that they have to look at it first to examine it to see exactly where they need to fix, where they can plug the hole. Just think, you go to a doctor, you go in, the doctor say, take these pills, drink this, take this, we need to operate, without asking any questions of you, without doing any kind of assessment. And so if we would tell anyone, which most people don't like to do, you got to do a financial assessment. And in one of the main things that's in our financial assessment, I know people don't want to hear it, and then sometimes people change the names, but we ain't gonna get fancy. You need to know your budget, you need to do an income statement, and you need to do a balance sheet. And you need to sit down with someone, because what it is, you cannot manage what you don't know, and you can't grow what you don't manage.
Say that again.
That's right. You cannot manage what you don't know, and you cannot grow what you don't manage.
Okay. What is the age? Am I supposed to wait until I've had my kids and I'm well into my career to say, okay, I'm looking to be financially free? Or am I supposed to do, like, if I'm 18, 20, am I thinking about this? But then by the time I'm 50, I'm too old to be thinking about this. What's the guidance?
In truth, definitely, I believe the school system need to change.
Okay.
That's pretty much the biggest thing right now. The things they teach in the school, not just outdated, it's not keeping up and you're not developing the habits. What I believe is 4 things that need to be taught in school. Number 1, conflict resolution. I think about relationships with each other, about health, and then to me, the number 1 thing is about money. I believe at least, probably kindergarten, but for sure from 3rd grade on up. And so we have 10 easy steps for the youth, and then we have it for adults. And so to answer your question, seriously, your parents, if they are giving you an allowance, hopefully they are following the number 2 of our particular step that kind of work together. And that's why people should definitely, number 3 rather, they should do. But number 1, if your parents have some kind of business, they should be paying you and teaching you about money. So it really starts at home. It should start at a younger level. But at the minimum, it must start at 17 and 18. Yeah, the plan that we have in place is for young adults, older adults, and even senior adults, because one of the things that people really mistake, you just got to get started where you at, because it's never going to be all the lights green. It's never going to be perfect. All of the lines are not going to line up. So you got to start where you are. And once you do that, then you can make the change.
I heard a quote, I think it's from a movie, forgive me for not remembering, but someone said, I'm just gonna pay my bills and die.
Hey, if you keep living that way, that's gonna happen, right? So you ain't gotta worry about that. And so you gotta have a plan to it. And so that's the biggest thing. And so, and since you happen to talk about death, that happened to be part of number 2. And what do we mean by that? Not die, but insurance. Okay. And it's different types of insurance. And no matter how we look at it, and I know you have some other financial professionals licensed as well, they may put it number 3, number 4, number 5. Number 1 in the checklist is, of course, sit down with a professional, get some kind of plan, look at where you at. Number 2, hey, I'm telling your audience, I'm telling my audience, I'm telling everyone, you have to sit down, you got to get insurance. And all the insurance is important, because we're talking about your life insurance, your auto insurance, if you are renting, renter insurance, if you own a home, homeowners insurance, as well as health insurance. And the bottom line, insurance is used to make you whole and to replace your income. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I share with people all the time. You look at this, Jamie, that if on your way to make your wealth, because there's 2 things that you need to make wealth. You need health and you need time.
Okay.
Okay? So obviously, if you're 18, if you're 20, you're 21, at that moment, you're on your way to being successful. You probably not, in a traditional sense, have not made millions of dollars yet. Would that be a pretty fair assessment?
That's fair.
Even though that could be next year you can have it. But normally ain't that many 18 millionaires, okay? So just call it. So what happened is, as you are starting in the adult world, definitely if you start a family, you need to replace the income that either you currently have or the income that you is going to get. And so we educate people a real simple formula most professionals use. It's called the DIME theory, which the D stands for death and debt, I stands for income, that you shop 10 times your income, the N stands for a mortgage, and the E stands for entrepreneurship or education. Entrepreneurship for your children or education for them. And so, of course, a lot of agents, say which one you should get or not. We believe, of course, in the split funding. We believe what our grandparents always taught us: do not put all your eggs in one basket. We believe that your insurance should be over here and your savings or investments should be over here, so neither one don't cancel each other out. And whatever benefits you think you owe, you can always get them if you do separate, no matter what the other people tell you. And as you said in the beginning, I'm an expert licensed as well as a certified instructor in this particular area with that. And the same thing if you happen to have auto insurance. It was so bad, it became a law because people was not able to help make people whole and replace, and it was putting a burden on, obviously, some companies and the state. So insurance is huge. And just think right now, seriously, if you had a home and you either had a fire or a flood and you had nothing, and now your house got burned down because something got left on the oven, or you had an electronic fire because it was some bad electricity. Now your house is burned down. not a directly fault of yours, but now you don't have nothing to replace it. Man, it's huge. And even if you rent it, the neighbor upstairs could have a flood in the bathroom. The ceiling drops, and destroy things in your place, and it's flood. If you do not have rental insurance, you will be fighting a tooth trying to make efforts to take your landlord to court. And so when you talked about the death insurance is important, it's the second thing on the list. You must get it, and it's just no getting around it. It doesn't matter. So that's everything from your life. That's everything from auto, home, renters, health, as well as disability.
Wow. So when I think about death, I kind of think about legacy.
Okay.
And leaving a legacy. How does leaving a legacy and that whole mind frame fit into financial freedom?
I'm glad you said that. Main reason, basically, when we lose a loved one, we're losing three main things. We're losing a lot of things, but we're losing three main things. Number one, we're losing that educational trait, because now you're not able, as you talk about legacy, to pass on information that you're having. So we're losing that. Number two, we have the emotional loss. Nothing can ever replace, no car, nothing, no money can do that. So you got the emotional loss. But the next thing you're talking about legacy that affects us, we got to stop going from broke generation to broke generation. And so we have to do as corporations do, we have to do as some religious organizations do, that they have policies on certain people that provide a certain level of knowledge and certain level of skill, certain level of income. So if you're talking about legacy, all it takes is one person to have the right kind of policy, to set up their policy the right type of way, to make it perpetual for the rest of their family. And that's what we do. We educate and show how to do it right and do it exactly where it needs to be done.
So the title, You Can't Work Your Way to Financial Freedom. What exactly does that mean? I think I know what that means, but I can't work my way to financial freedom. What are you referring to?
Okay, no problem. What we talk to people about, the 40-40 plan is out, okay? Because the 40-40 plan is way outdated. You are very young, so I don't know how old your parents are. But definitely, my parents was growing up on the 40-40 plan, where you can work for 40 years, work for 40 hours a week, work for 40 years, and get 40% of your pay. That was the game plan. The 40-40 plan was the game plan.
And did that work?
No, not really.
Okay.
But it had a greater chance based on inflation, based on technology, based on things that was not in place. Right now, there's no way that can happen. The reason why you can't work your way to freedom, because it's something called a three-legged stool that they talked about in the 1930s. And the three-legged stool is that not only should you look at Social Security, which is not going to really be there for most people, and it's not enough, and you should not only look at your job. See, that's the second leg. The third leg is, as I said, you got to do something for yourself. So if you do not pay yourself first, do something for yourself, and you only try to work your way to financial freedom, you only got one of the three legs. It is not going to happen. The 40-40 plan is overlaid, played out, checked out. See, we used to have the industrial age, which pretty much went even before the industrial, we had the farmers. Then we went from the farmers to, of course, machinery, to the industrial age. Then we went, of course, to, the fast food and Maytel toys, that particular era, and Coca-Cola, all of that. And then, of course, we went to the blue collar / white collar. Then we went to the tech. And now we, of course, in social media, and now we in AI, okay? So things have changed, and so as things evolve, we got to evolve. And so to bring it into math, okay, not to confuse anyone, all we have to do is start. That's why you have to do that first step, okay? We went over number 2, which we now get ready to go into number 3, is that you have to know exactly where you're at. And so the reason why you can't work your way to financial freedom, because you're not making enough to do it. If you bringing home a $2,000 income, you already said car notes are not $500. So let's say your car note is $800. So now you only got $1,200 left. All right, so now you live with somebody. That's another $1,000. You got $200, you ain't paid cell phone, you ain't paid groceries. It's no mathematical way. It's not enough money left over, what we call discretionary income or surplus income, to get it. And so that's why we share with people, our main thing is number 2, you got to acquire as much cash flow number 3, you got to acquire as much cash flow as possible. That means suggesting don't get a second job, get a home-based business like our network. We have something called a Freedom Team Apex Marketing Group Network membership. It has an affiliated independent contracted business. So you can, number one, learn and earn and pass it on and write off on your taxes. But even if they didn't want to become a part of our network, what they should, because they learn more than any way they're going to learn in school at any degree. But if they had a business, they had additional income, then you could take a percentage of that and start to pay yourself first to accelerate your curve. And so without doing it mathematically, it's not going to happen unless you apply these 10 steps. First one, as we talked about so far, I sit down with myself or someone from my team or any licensed financial professional that I suggest. Number two, make sure you get your proper insurance across the board, at least get a quote, know exactly where you at. And then of course, number three, acquire as much additional cash flow so you can accelerate the things that you want to do.
I guess I'm thinking about the traditional American family way. You work, you have a 401k.
I can tell your energy came down when you talked about work. Bring your energy up. I know that work got to you.
Work. Okay, we go to work.
Okay.
And I thought that when I am at work, me stashing away and saving into my 401k was going to help me. I don't know if I thought I was going to be financially free, but I did think that once I hit 65,
it was a done deal.
I'm done. I can live off my retirement.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
So the first thing that really happens along there, which is of course the number 4 step that we have. So what happened is when people are investing or putting away for retirement, and we will get to the retirement section, but it's in one thing that we have. It's something called life. That most people do not plan and have an emergency fund in place. And Murphy Law is going to show up. You know, if something can go wrong, it will at the worst possible time. You know, something if the car break down, something that you get sick, the refrigerator, something happened in your park, just life shows up. And so because we believe that step is not important, it's probably one of the most important steps. And that's why it's number 4 in our particular process. And so most people heard it, but they haven't processed it. The reason why you need an emergency fund, because if you start investing in retirement too soon and life shows up, you're going to have what is called a put and a take account. Put and a take account, because you don't have it structured correctly, just like we talked about in the beginning. If you are building a house, you move some of the bricks, what happens? Something's going to fall. So what we share and educate with people, and we want to make sure the audience write this down, that your emergency fund should be a minimum, if you work a job, 3 to 6 months of your take-home income, preferable 9 months to a year. But it should be 3 to 6 months, preferable 9 months to a year. And what we share with some people in the book, we talk about how to do it slowly but surely, how to put you on a plan, 52 weeks. We talk about doing $5, okay? We talk about doing $5 where you can now start to build up at least a baby emergency fund. But it's better to have something and not need it, and need it and don't have it. And so basically you want to get your baby fund is $1,000. You want to grow that to $3,000. And then you want to take that 3 to 10,000, 20,000, probably 30,000. It could be a little bit less based on your income, or it could be more. But you definitely got to get to $1,000 as soon as possible. So you got to start, if it's nothing but with the $5 plan. Now, the thing that I want to share with the business people, what's missed is this. Business people make efforts to operate off that same rule. That's incorrect. That rule is for people that work jobs, because people that work jobs have, number one, they are able, if they have a certain skill, certain certification, or a license or a degree, they have a chance to be able to get a job in 3, 6, and 9 months. But sometimes in business, it's about momentum. And sometimes your momentum could be down, the cycles could be down, and may take you 8 months. It may take you a year, it may take you 2. So business people emergency fund seriously should be a minimum of 36 months, ideal of 60 months. If you are self-employed, you are entrepreneur, you're a business owner, that's your goal. Now, of course, it's not going to happen overnight, but your goal is to go 36 months to 60 months, because the main reason why businesses fail it's not only, yes, it's the lack of money, but it's like also the lack of money to live. So they are stressed and they are robbing Peter to pay Paul and knocking Tommy in the head.
That's good. That's good. When you say, I thought of the life be lifing.
Yes,
That's what they say now.
yes. Exactly. That's what be happening. And so once you do, of course, the Mercy Fund, now we can get to the next step that you talked about, the retirement. And so it's no question. The gentleman, I think his name was Ted Brennan, I believe his name. They call him the father of 401k. When 401k, it wasn't like discovered, but he discovered it within the tax code. It was always in the tax code. And it gave obviously an opportunity, probably really, to save money for corporations and to put the responsibility back into the employee hand, which the employee wasn't used to doing. And they didn't understand it. So a lot of times people do it and don't do it. This is what we normally suggest. Normally, if your particular place of employment, doesn't matter what your 401k is doing, because most of the time some are doing better than others, but if they are matching $1 for every dollar you put in up to a certain amount, you need to do it until you capitalize it, because it is a max. And it's normally somewhere between 5 and 10%. So once you put the max in and they max it, that is what is called your employee retirement account. But we tell people, you got to do what grandmama say. You got to pay yourself first, because ain't nobody going to love you like you. Oh, look out. And so once you maximize, if your place of employment happens to have one, a 401k, a 403b, whichever program your company have, if you can contribute. But also, once you do that, then you need to do your own, what is called IRA, your own individual retirement account. Now, you don't have to you can do an IRA or you can do a Roth IRA.
Okay.
Now, this is for people that work. They have different ones for businesses, but since over 85% of people in the country work a job, we're just going to go with those two.
Okay.
Both of those have great benefit, but because of Senator Roth, who it was named after, that the Roth IRA, that money it get taxed when you put into it, but everything in it grows tax-free. You'll pay all the profit that it makes, you'll pay no tax, where the other one is tax deferred. So both of them have their pros and cons, but definitely you can do both, but definitely the Roth IRA is the way to go. Now, what I want to tell people is a sleeper. That's right, I want to tell you the sleeper, right? And some people may not like this. And we have ran a few scenarios, and it's called equity index annuity. So you have 3 types of annuities, okay? First, let me say annuities are offered by an insurance company, okay? And so you have a fixed annuity, equity index annuity, and a variable annuity. The variable annuity, normally that representative is going to be licensed in insurance and licensed in what is called securities, normally what's called Series 6, because that is invested, of course, in things on the stock exchange. And anytime you hear the word variable, that means nothing guaranteed. It's variable, okay? That means it can go up and down. It's based on the market. We normally definitely don't suggest that. Then you got the fixed. The fixed is not bad, but the fixed is obviously lower than the variable, but it's constant. The one that we suggest for sure is the equity index annuity. Why? It's the best of both worlds. So you have obviously a floor that is not going to go below, but also you have a ceiling, but you get a chance to participate in the market, even though they're going to have some deductions and you're going to make more. So we done average it out. If a person have put the same $100,000 and they did it for over a 10-year period, and no matter what the market's been doing, great, 23, 60, 18% with the example that we show, and you have hypothetically our equity index annuity that's doing say 5.66%, because it stayed consistent over that period of time, even though that was up and down, that the equity index annuity will pay you more. And so we suggest that people do both. And like I say, everything got its pros and cons.
Sure.
I'm here to tell people the truth. There's no one thing that's the best thing and the only thing, but it has to have a plan and a method to it. And so the purpose of the equity index annuity is to ensure you have money. That's what your traditional pension plan is. When people hit the lottery and they not getting the money in lump sum, and they getting hypothetically X amount of dollars for this period of time, that's an annuity. Is that it's paying you. Your pension that's an annuity, and so it's paying you X amount of dollars. And so the key thing is just when people annuitize, which is a fancy word, is give me my money. When you annuitize it, you just got to make for sure you pick the best option for you, because they got some that can be for a period of time, can be for a dollar amount, a combination of both. Sometimes you get a refund, so you just got to choose that. But the bottom line, as you talked about retirement, take care of the Mercy Fund first, pay yourself first, put that on automatic, and then contribute to your employee as much as they contribute in the max amount you can, and then set up your own, of course, individual retirement options.
Okay. Well, I do have some hope for retirement. I do have an annuity.
Okay.
So thank you for that.
Okay.
Now, something else that's buzzing in the financial world is credit.
Okay.
Where does my credit fit into my journey for financial freedom?
And I'm glad you said that. Pretty much after you take care of the things that we talked about, number one, that you sit down with somebody professional, that's the first thing. Number two, you make sure that if you get sick, disabled, or die prematurely, because nobody know the time and hour, that your family, your legacy is taken care of. Number three, you want to acquire as much cash flow as possible, preferable. Work with us, Freedom Team Apex Marketing Group. Pretty much a very easy program to have, educate, write off on your taxes, and you get cash flow. Or you can work with somebody else, but you got to increase your cash flow. Then the next, you got to start your emergency fund. Okay, you got to start somewhere, and it's best to start today. And then of course, the next thing is participating in your place of employment, retirement, and your individual. Then the next is credit. Credit almost is above that. Some people want to put above that, but next is a credit. The thing that people miss is we don't understand about using other people's money. And so we got a program we do once a month talking about introduction to credit and how it works. And the reason why credit is important, because you want to be able to leverage other people's money and not your money. For example, if all you got, hypothetically, is $10 to your name, and somebody else allow you to keep your $10 and then give you something, they only going to charge you $1 for it, but you have the option, if you give it to them sooner, then you ain't got to pay the extra dollar on it. It makes sense to have your money, because now you take your 10 and you turn down that into 20. And so what people miss, we've been fed that credit is bad. We educate people something between good debt and bad debt. In our book, we talk about that the difference is real simple. Good debt is something that makes you money. Bad debt is something that takes money from you. And so you want to make for sure that you understand it too. So when you have your personal credit puts you in a position to do things you cannot do. That is how our world is functioning. Okay, that's how our world is functioning. And then we're talking about the whole planet, is that you're doing something on credit, you're doing something on consignment, you're doing something on your word, you're doing something on agreement. Nobody is paying full and cash for any and everything. The world will not get built and moved that particular way. So you want to make sure you take care. Of course, we talk about your personal credit. Real simple, what we share with people with your personal credit, what people don't know, and some do. You want to order your credit report from all 3 credit agencies, not one.
Okay.
Now, if you have one of the companies that we have worked with, of course, Identity IQ, and you can even have one of the other companies, even though they have access to it, you still want to order your report. One thing that we share, the free one that you normally get normally does not have your score. If you pay, and it's not that much, a very nominal cost, then you can get your report with your history and your score in there. And we talk about it, some basic things that you need to do. Say, ask me what?
What?
All right, some basic things you need to do that people don't realize, that anything in your credit profile is supposed to be 100% factual, or it must be promptly deleted. It's not on you to prove it, it's on them to prove it. So just some basic things that people have duplicated in their file. They have multiple names. How many names you got?
One.
You only got one name. So they have multiple names. They have multiple addresses. They have multiple employers in there. That alone is the difference between somebody getting a car for a lower rate, or buying a house for a lower rate, or getting a house at all. And so these things, of course, they help do it. And so we talk to people, you have to know your credit freedom number. And the credit freedom number, we tell people, and credit score for the FICA system goes anywhere between 300 and 850. We tell them you want to be at least 620 to 640. That's not great. we talking about, that's about a C plus, but that'll put you in position from a consumer and a professional to do most things. Now, as we talked about in the beginning, you got to inspect what you expect. You should be looking at your credit report every 30, 60 to 90 days. You got to inspect what you expect. Because if you don't, sometimes things get put on there that you don't know, and sometimes things are not reported correctly. You need to stay on top of that. So that's the personal credit. That's going to allow you, obviously, to do almost in everything. Because you do know when you get ready to get a job, guess what they check for? Credit. When you get insurance, guess they check for what? Credit. When you go on a date with a woman, guess what she's checking for? Credit, okay? So no matter what you do, that they are checking on credit. So you definitely want to do that. And the main reason you want to take personal credit, because this is the golden key that's been locked away from us, is business credit. Okay. So what happened is people are making efforts to do everything off of their business credit, which is understandable, but that's not the game should be played. Hey, you got to realize, the game is supposed to be made and not paid. And so that's right, that's a bar, ain't it? Yeah. So what we want to show you is that you got to have your credit score up. So you may need 620, 640 for you to buy property, but to start to put yourself in position for business credit, you want to get to 680 to 720, all right, which is still not the top, but that puts you in a position to now start to leverage and do it. So now the reason why you want to have a personal credit profile and a business credit profile, because if anything goes wrong, like show up on a business, you still have to deal with it and take care of it, but it doesn't affect your personal, which is what you need to help continue to build and fix your business. And so what happened is, we talk about in the book, like I said, in step 6, about building your business credit. It's some basic things you want to do. A lot of times, people, what's that saying is, they are penny wise, nickel foolish, or something like that, right? Something like that. So what happened is, when people are starting a business, they want to take a lot of shortcuts, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you know that saying, if it sounds like a duck, look like a duck, it's what? It's a duck. When you are going to banks and lenders and people that are giving you money, you want to make for sure that you look like the business that they normally give to. That doesn't mean you got to have a pretty brick and mortar building, but you need to have a business line so when they go to 411, they can find you. You can't have the phone, they say who calling, you be like, this Shaniqua, that you can't do that, okay? You can't do that. You need to have a legitimate business line, and there's various options. Of course, you can do it. You can pay to get a business line. We definitely suggest don't do a Google line, because that number is not going to be listed in 411. But you want to go ahead and pay and get your business line. Make sure you get it listed. The next thing, there's nothing wrong. Can you legally start your business at home, which is a lot of businesses do. They start at home. Lady, what we want to share with you is that, ladies and gentlemen, that if you do that, again, you're not looking like a business. So you either can partner with somebody, rent a space for them, rent a chair for them, or you can get a business that you can use it as you need to, but you got a physical place and address. So you need to have that, because it has to look like a business. You cannot or should not have your business money and your personal money together. You ain't commingling that. Are you kidding me? You might do that as a sole proprietor, which is bad, but definitely you can't do that. You're in violation. You do that as a corporation. You can't do that. They got to be separate, because then they're going to say that your corporation is not a corporation, because what is called pierce the veil. You pierce the veil because you co-mingled it together. It has to be structured as a business, so you want to make sure that you got a business account. So some of these basic things we want to do. So we don't want to get a business address, a business number. We don't want to get a business account, but these are the things. We want to use our cell phone. You have to get a business line, and that would allow you to use 10,000 of other people's money and not your money.
Okay. So we went through the first 6 steps. What's number 7?
Yeah, number 7 is that time now. Number 7 is talking about, of course, buying a home. Oh. Now, I know it's a lot of things going around on this, and some of them I may agree with, but that's not what I'm standing on. Okay. What I'm standing on, when I'm talking to the average American, definitely black average American, and we're talking about what we go through in our community, it is true for most people. Your home, for most people, is the largest investment that they're going to get. Okay. You want to start setting an example. You want to start providing a legacy. You want to show that it's done. And so some people say, oh, you shouldn't buy a house because it's not an asset, which is true. It's not an asset. What it is, though, you can start to use it as leverage, and it's putting you in the proper mindset. So let me tell you a quick story. I got two nephews. Okay, my two nephews live in Atlanta, and they doing their side hustle business. And so what I shared with them, I said, listen, I said, nephew, go ahead and make up your mind you want to buy a house in the next 12 months. I said, let me tell you why. Because the same things you got to do to get yourself in order to buy a house is some of the similar things you got to do to run a business. Number one, you got to sit down with a financial professional. Okay. Number two, you got to get organized. There's certain documentations that you got to get. Number two, you have to stay consistent of earning income. If you're getting a W-2 income, you got to do 2 years. If you're self-employed, you want 3. But you have to be what? Consistent. See, the things that it takes to get a home, you have to do that. And then no matter what we believe it is, if you're going to pay, no matter what nobody tell you, yes. If you're paying rent, if you're paying your mortgage, you can't always get up and leave as quick. But I'm telling you this, it's better than paying $1,200 and dealing with the neighbors upstairs, downstairs, and all the noise. It's better to have a peace of mind, do what you want to, when you want to, how you want to. Yeah. And what they're saying, God bless a child that what? God is on. Oh, look out. And so you want to make for sure, of course, that you buy home. But the other thing that I have found, too, that your home also can be your emergency plan B backup. Because sometimes you have good people that have bad things happen to them. And so if you happen to have your home, property don't always appreciate every year, but it does appreciate most of the time. And if your home appreciated and you have had it 3, 5, 7, 10 years, and if you put yourself in a bind, you can refinance, consolidate all your bills, and pay them off. Some people say, oh, I don't want to do that because my rate may be higher. They're not looking at the whole picture. Okay. So the whole picture is if you got a Visa at 10 and then you got another MasterCard at 20 and your mortgage is at 5, you're looking at you paying about 35 already in interest. So now if you consolidate, instead of, quote, even though you're 5, you might go to 8 now, but now you only got one place to pay. Plus, now you get a chance to write the interest off, because with one of our past presidents, we used to be able to write credit card interest off. They changed it. But if you refinance, you can write it all off. And so you just got to get a home. You want to be able to show your particular family that it can be done. But let me tell you the first key. Normally, the saying that I say when I train and speak from the stage, if you take the first step, the second step will be revealed. So if you get your first property, it make it easier for you to get your second. Okay. All right. Plus, it increase your financial IQ. You start to learn about credit ratio. You start to learn about debt to income ratio. You start to learn about credit score. You start to learn about what's a tri-merge, what's a middle score. You start to learn about all these particular things that we have. And so that's what we share. So that step is, it's time you got to get it. There's no question. You got it, because it gives you something to work for. And in closing on that note, I don't believe you should work for a place of employment for 10, 15, 20 years and you got nothing to show for it but some clothes. Okay? You need to get a house out there, D. Okay? Because you need steady employment. You let that window go by. No. If your place of employment, they owe you a home. Okay? Wherever you work at, that's what you get out of that. Okay. Now, after you get the house, you may leave and do what you want to do, but they owe you that. Okay?
That just reminds me, sometimes in our community, we look real good. Okay. And you kind of touched on it earlier, but our financial house is a mess. We can be driving fancy cars, have designer labels everywhere, but we really kind of broke. If somebody was to peel off those layers, yes, we got a lot of bad debt. Yes, yes. What we call that is all flash and no cash. Okay? And so, we tell people you should have more money invested than you got in your closet. So if you got $3,000 of shoes, $3,000 of dresser, $3,000 of suits, you better have $3,000 in the bank. Okay. You should have more invested in yourself, paying yourself first, than you got in your closet, on your feet, or on your shoulders. Okay. And so that's what we share to do. And why is that important as well?
Also, you got to start to protect, which is, of course, our next step, which is step number 8. It's something that people don't realize is important, and this is a true story just happened. I have a young lady that's on our team, and she's in Detroit, Michigan, okay, or in the Michigan area. And, you know, hopefully everything, of course, is good. She happened to lose a mother. I know how that feels to lose a parent and lose both parents. And basically, make a long story short, they made efforts to do some of the things they're supposed to do, and they went to a bank to get some things done, such as setting up their trust, and they did not input it right, and now they got to go through probate and got to get an attorney and pay all kind of stuff. And so this step that we're talking about right here is huge. You have to protect, what we call this step, number 8 is protect your family, protect your assets.
Okay.
And so what you need to do, you have to sit down, as we tell people all the time, be a professional, hire a professional like us so you get professional results.
Okay.
And not just hire people because they're an employee somewhere. You need to really go. And so basically the whole benefit of really having a trust is that it's going to save you time, effort, and energy, because you hate, like remember earlier I said the 3 losses you have, the educational loss, you have the emotional loss, and then you have the financial loss. You do not want to be dealing with the court, dealing with the attorneys after they had your loved one to try to get your mother or your father's house back, or the siblings fighting over it, which happened so many times than we can believe because there was no documentation to state it. Or better yet, let me bring it close to here, why you want to get your, as we say, protect your family, protect your assets. So both of my parents are deceased. And my mother ended up having a brain tumor. And because I'm in the profession, in the field, I had a medical power attorney.
Okay.
People don't know that if you don't have your medical power attorney, for the most part, the hospital makes the decision.
Okay. Ooh.
And you would hate to, when it come down to it, that you huffing and puffing, but it's no documentation. This is an adult. There's no documentation that says on there. And so you want to have a medical power attorney. You want to have a doable power attorney, a regular power attorney. You want to have all these things in place, and it doesn't cost a lot. We spend more on this going to the movies. Okay. You know, so we spend more on this. But ladies and gentlemen, what I share with people all the time, by you protecting your family, protect your assets, things in order. And of course, this most important thing is this makes everything smoother.
Yeah.
Because if you happen to have money and you happen to have property, if you don't have it in place, then automatically the government step in and they take the place. So you want to make sure that it's non-probatable, don't go to court. And I know people have a will. And a will is nothing but a letter of instruction, which is good, but a will is probatable, which means you're going to be in court communicating on that. But if you have a trust, you're going to save time, energy, and in a lot of cases, you're going to save not just money, taxes as well, depending on how it's structured. So that's why we want to make sure that people, you have to do that.
Wow. Are y'all getting something out of this?
No doubt.
So we're up to the 8th step. Or we're
on number 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
9
number 9.
steps.
Yes.
Okay. Let us have it.
All right. So the next thing in number 9 that we talked about, that's huge. You definitely want to start. You want to make sure you're paying down your debt. Also, you want to put yourself in. We already talked about paying off some debt, of course, earlier, and that's a part of the credit thing.
Yeah.
So with the credit, we didn't mention. So let me go back. If I didn't mention, so when we are doing, of course, number 6 in the credit, that you want to keep your debt ratio to 30% and under. So real simple, what that means is if you got $1,000. You want to make sure it's 30% and under, which means you want to make sure it's $300 and under. By doing that, that allows you to keep the highest score. If you're an authorized user, you want to take that down to 20% to make that happen. And you want to pay things earlier than the due date, on there, like about 5 days before the date, because this allows, of course, your score to go up as well. So as you are paying down your debt, we suggest, so I'm going back to number 6 because I think I probably maybe just skipped over this one part, which is a huge part, before we come to number 9 about paying off more debt.
Okay.
But also in the credit area, paying off the debt, you either want to use the snowball effect or the avalanche effect. Now, the avalanche effect. Now, this ain't really nothing new, and there's no secret. It's a mathematical equation. That's all it is. What it says, you can decide. We have a system within our FAP. That's why we said that's the first step, because our FAP gives you all of this, okay? And the book goes over all this, but the FAP gives you an actual tool that you can implement. So one of the methods says you either pay the smallest amount, or you pay the highest. The key or the secret or the trick to it is that you have to commit to some additional money. Preferable $100, it could be as small as 25, it could be as small as 10. The concept is that now you have a schedule and a plan that you pay one bill out on a time, and it's cascade, it goes on top of the other.
Okay.
The reason why majority of people have not been able to execute it successfully, number one, discipline. Number two, they don't know how to do it. But the most important thing is not automatic. They have not set it up on an automatic plan. Okay, if you don't do it automatic, when Murphy gonna show up, you're gonna start doing yourself. As soon as your children need something, you want to go out of town with one of your male friends or female friends, you want to go on a family reunion, you want to buy something for a holiday, then therefore the surplus money get taken out, if not more. But if you have it on automatic, which we show people how to do, and we give them the blueprint in the book, and we show them in our program how to do it, they can get it done. And so that's the thing you got to do in the debt. You got to have that on schedule. So now coming back to number 9. Number 9 is pay down more debt. Because now what should have happened between the earlier steps, you're increasing your cash flow, you're saving money on taxes, you're paying down on the debt. Now what you can do, obviously, you can be able to take that money and even pay even more. Now we suggest paying off your mortgage, that's a 50-50. It's some scenarios that you got to look at. Number one, that how long you plan to be in the house. If you think you're not going to be in your house over 15 years, why are you giving free money away? Okay, okay, why are you giving free money away? So I will only do that, yes, if you pay, accelerate your mortgage, yes, will you pay it down, yes, will you build an equity, but it would not be, it's still not one, and we done did the examples, it's really not to the benefit of you putting that money there. You really did better by either pay down or off your debt, or invest that money, which I gave you more with that. But if you are going to be in it more than 15 years, what we give people is the blueprint. This is how you accelerate your mortgage now. We're talking about both. This is going, of course, in on the 6 in the credit area and in 9 in the debt area. One, you got to communicate with your mortgage company. You cannot do this on your own. If you make efforts to send money in to accelerate your mortgage without having a communication, the rule is when you sign your mortgage agreement at closing, that you agree to pay your mortgage and principal and interest first before you pay anything else. So you have to, first of all, make sure you get the regular payment in, and all you have to do with simplicity is, if your mortgage is, say $1,200 a month, take $1,200, divide that by 12, which is $100 a month. That's very doable. Get that $100, communicate to the mortgage company, you would like this $100 to be applied to principal. You need to write out, don't do this one electronically. Okay, this one, you need that, I would do that hard copy, I'm telling you, because there's going to be some stuff if you don't. But you want to have a separate payment, separate check, designated to principal only, and it's only going to be valid that you are staying up to date. Okay. Then you do that, you can knock off easily anywhere between 6, 8, depending on how much more you accelerate 10 years. This is how you play the game. If you're not going to sell your property within 15 years. So you want to do that. But now, by keeping your debt down, this is where the game's finna change. Number 9. It's time for you to get some investment property. You have to get at least one. We talked about earlier about buying your time back. So you're already in a retirement area. You can do a retirement, and then also, let me go back, I forgot to say one thing too, in number 5, when you doing your retirement account, also you might always say 5B, you want to open up brokerage accounts. All right, the reason why you want to open up brokerage accounts, I know some of the financial planners tell you, pay off all your debt, don't pay yourself first, don't do nothing else, just pay off all your debt. And then when you pay off all your debt, take that money, and now you can accelerate it. That program will work, nothing's wrong with that, but I know definitely dealing with my community and the people that I work with, you got to start developing a habit. And so we suggest open up a brokerage account. If you don't do nothing but put the minimum. You can put anywhere between $25 to $50. Sometimes some is $10.
Just to open it?
Just to open it, and some even $0. But you want to get a plan, and as you pay down your debt, then you can start now, and you max out your retirement, then you can come back to increase that. And so you can open up broker accounts for mutual funds, ETF, REITs, as well as stocks. Again, you want to sit down, with a licensed professional, somebody know what they're doing. If you want to do it yourself, you can go online. I suggest you don't do that, right? What they're saying is, they say an attorney representing himself normally got, a dumb attorney, right? So you want to get, the professional. As I say all the time, be a professional, get a professional like us to get professional results. So by doing that happened regarding that. And so that's the main thing. So now you've done those things, you should get one piece of property. So as I was saying in step number 9, the whole goal, let me break this down. You talked about is financial freedom in the beginning, something that anybody and everybody can achieve.
Yeah.
And I talked about, which is the name of the book, You Cannot Work Your Way to Financial Freedom. Buy your time back, free yourself, and your dreams will follow.
Yeah.
Because freedom is definitely not for sale. So what happens is you can receive cash flow and or dividends from certain account. Cash flow for sure is going to normally come from real estate. Dividends can come from your stocks, mutual funds, certain mutual funds, as well as REITs, real estate investment trusts. And you don't need a lot of money to do these. Most of these you can do anywhere between $25 to $50 a month.
Okay.
Sometimes at $100, but all you got to do is not go to Starbucks, okay, one week, okay? So you can come up with that if you really wanted to. Dunkin' Donuts, wherever you go to get your coffee. So what happens is that, like I said, so now you can get one property to help pay a bill. So you looking to cash flow on any property on an average minimum, probably $200. And depending on other, it may be lower, but normally $200 to about $400 is normally a good minimum. Of course, you want more, because now, if you bring home a $4,000 income, all you have to do is get one property at a year. And if you take you 10 years, guess what you done bought? Your time back. Because now you got $400 to 10 property, and we're talking about the cash flow after all expenses is paid. So now you got your time back. You done bought your freedom. You're not rich, you're not wealthy, but you're financially independent. You're free. You don't have to now go, because you cannot work your way to freedom. You gotta buy your time back. You gotta invest in yourself. So that's what we're talking about showing how to do. So that's why you want to do it. So that's number 9. You got to do that.
When I'm thinking about all of these steps, I'm kind of picturing like, okay, I'm not necessarily intimidated off of them, because I'm like, take one step at a time. You go here, then you go there, almost like a GPS.
Yes,
you're
yes.
just following the steps. You know that you're going to get to your destination. Sometimes your destination is 10 hours away. Sometimes it's 20 minutes away.
But if you follow GPS, it happens. Yeah. And so that's why we call it a fact kind of run with a map, right?
Okay.
Freedom Financial Assessment Plan. It is a financial GPS.
Okay.
It's exactly that is going to show if you take these steps. Because what happens is, like we talked about again, it's 5 main bricks with these different steps within the bricks. And with just like anything, if you skip any step in anything, you're going to miss something. That's in sports. That's in academic, that's in anything, in relationship.
Yeah.
If you skip steps, it's some learning curve, it's some lesson that you're going to miss. If you skip and don't, number one, sit down with someone to map it out, to know exactly where you're going, because how would you like to get in the house and they just put it together? Nobody who want to go up in the elevator and they never planned how it's going to work. Nobody would do that, right? And so you want to make sure you got to do that. You got to make sure that you get sick, disabled, die prematurely. That's taken care of. You definitely got to make sure you're increasing your cash flow. These are steps that got to happen. If you do it and you start now to happen, which of course goes to get to number 10. And number 10 is really a big one. And with number 10, because now you went through step 9. And again, these steps is not something that can take a year, 2 years. You can actually start it. Doesn't mean you have achieved everything in it, but you can start all this, and we have a plan, and in our book and in our program, that you can do all of this in 7 weeks. We have a 7-week program that you can have all the things completed in 7 weeks or less. Then all you have to do, just like a barbecue, keep putting wood on the fire. Keep putting wood on the fire. As long as you put wood, gasoline, alcohol, whatever you want to do on it, it's going to keep burning, okay? So we want to make for sure that we put this in place for you to do that. Okay. And so number 10, though, to bring everything home, this is probably the biggest and strongest thing. In order really to learn about something and to be about it, you got to be around it. You know, you heard that saying, if you lay in bed with dogs, you wake up with fleas, or
Yes.
for real, or you become the 5 closest people that you hang around. So what happens is that if you have to start to put yourself in a position where you're around people that's talking about money, talking about business, talking about investing, because right now, let's go with snow cones, okay? And you may not know, depends on where you come from, may not know what a snow cone is, right? But say we're talking about snow cones, and you're like, what the heck is a snow cone? Basically, it's Italian ice, they put flavor on it, put straws, and we suck on it, right? And say you know nothing about it. But if you hang around someone that say, this is where you get the flavor, this is the kind of ice you get, this is the kind of cups you get, this is the kind of straws you get, this is the temperature that you keep the ice at. Even though you care nothing about making ice cones, because you hang around them, you have no way but to pick up something about it. Make sense?
Makes total sense.
So it's the same thing when it comes to money. So we suggest in this last step that we tell people all the time, if you're not a part of a team, become on the team that you want to have. You should, number one, join or help organize a business investment club, a regular money investment club, or a real estate investment club. And it doesn't take a lot. We're talking about having 3, 5, max 7 people. Ideal is 3. Ideal is 5, but the minimum is 3, no more than 7. That's what you want to have in your particular group. And y'all can set up where y'all can meet what it is once a week, once a month, once a quarter. The idea that you are talking about money, and what you do is, again, you be a professional, get a professional like us, and make professional results. So we can get on the Zoom. We got our program. That's why the Freedom Team APEC Network Marketing Group, FTMG, .com, that our particular networking group where people can join our membership. And when they join our membership, they get 8 core courses, they get monthly courses, they get a chance to get questions about starting a business, social media, website, investing in the market, real estate, building that credit, building a business, all these particular things, because you have to be around it. Okay, as one of my mentors said, Anthony Robbins, I have this particular quote, said, love your family and friends, but pick your peers, because the people you hang around is who you'll become.
Okay.
I repeat, love your family and friends, but pick your peers, because the people you're hanging around is who you become. So if you want to grow and learn about money, you cannot be with the same people in the same situation you are that know just as much as you do or less. So you want to make for sure that you are hanging around people that's talking about it, because you got a greater chance to get better. If you want to lose weight, you cannot hang with the person go to the buffet. Okay, you need to hang with the person that's going to the gym. Even if that person in the gym don't know what they're doing, they're going to be better than the person going to the buffet. All right, so we want to make for sure people have that, and then now you are gaining more knowledge, more time, more resources, more peers, and now you can start to grow. And now you are building what is called momentum. And so we tell people for sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that they definitely want to participate in our program. We got a lot of stuff definitely for free. So we got a program this is our gift. How to improve your budget, your credit, and your finance with 10 easy steps. So we got this 10 easy steps. Also, we have the 7 mistakes to avoid your business does not fail.
Okay.
Then we have how to discover and use real estate to get free. I was interviewed by Les Brown and have that. And we even give away a free ebook with it, Empower Your Personal Finance. Okay. And so we want people to get this program for free. They can either depend on wherever it's being shown, so they can click the link. They can make sure they can go to our website, ftmg.com. They can request it. We'll get the whole free package to them, no cost, no nothing. We want to get it to them so they can grow.
Nice. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely very inspired. I'm hopeful. I think about GPS, and you start where you are, you put in the destination, and you hit go.
And you hit go.
And it tells you what to do. And it sounds like these 10 steps will help me and anybody watching start where I'm at, put in the destination, and hit go.
Oh, absolutely. And the first thing to start is getting your FAT, your financial GPS, to get it done. And so what we share with people, if you really want to go, you just start where you're at. You want to go from, as we say, from zero to hero. You definitely want to make for sure that you have Number one, the book.
Yes.
You cannot work your way to financial freedom.
Yes.
Buy your time back. Free yourself, your dreams will follow. Freedom is not for sale. You definitely want to get the free gifts, but most important, we have to stop trying to do everything ourselves. So in closing right now, if I poke you with this finger, it may hurt, but it's only a finger. But once you put it together, it makes a fist. It is much stronger. And so that allows us, so by people joining our Freedom Team Apex network marketing group, or by them joining any particular group, they get a chance to get information, they get exposure, they get skills, they get stimulated, they get motivated, and in your words, they get the GPS and they just punch it in so they can get you.
Well, thank you so much for this time today, Freedom Coach. Drop your website one more time.
Oh, no problem. Definitely, if they want to find, they can go to ftamg.com.
Okay.
They can definitely go to Instagram page, Fahim Muhammad, the Freedom Coach, Cash Flow Builder, or any other social media, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, any of those places. As long as you put in Fahim Muhammad, the Freedom Coach, Cash Flow Builder, you should have no problem. And one thing that I want to share as I close, for one of our past presidents has stated, good things come to those who wait, but only what's left over from those who hustle. We tell people being free is no longer a vision, it's a mission. Again, my name is Fahim Muhammad, the Freedom Coach. Free yourself and your dreams will follow.